Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? It's Amanda Ellis. A very warm welcome to my channel. It is the 14th of August, 2024. We've got a lot to get through today. I'm sorry that I'm not on as frequently as I used to be on YouTube. That will be remedied soon. I am trying to, though, get on top of some online courses that I want to deliver. And that does rather mean that I just sometimes have got to get my head down and just do other stuff. So I've been busy doing that and getting to grips with recording meditations, using new software, new platforms. It's all going on, guys, but it's all good. But yeah, there's a lot going on in our world. I do try to keep up with most of the things that Spirit is asking me to talk about anyway, on my Facebook page and my Instagram page. They are called Angelic Celestial Colours. The Instagram page has got a blue tick, so you know that it's me. I have a feeling I might be shadow banned on there, though, because it's as though every time I say anything even remotely controversial, I seem to lose 200 people, and I can't believe people are that sensitive. I'm not the most offensive person in the world, I don't think. But on Facebook, I think I've got about 45,000 followers, so that's how you know you're on the official page. Don't take notice of any scammer pretending to be me, of course, offering you a free reading or a free healing or any of that. I don't do personal sessions. Anyhow, let's get to today's video. It's really nice to be back with you all. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing a bit more work on here, and definitely doing some lives come the autumn when I've got the backlog of my other work under control, to be perfectly honest. Right, what we're going to be doing in this video then is hopefully I'm going to be trying to help you to navigate these crazy times, and in particular, the symptoms that you might be having within your body linked into a lot of the energetics that are out there. Now, in particular, maybe referencing the build-up of volcanic energy, solar flares, other things like that, elemental problems, let's put it that way. I'm going to be referencing cranial pressure that you may have been experiencing. Talked a little bit about that this morning already on my other social media channels, waking up with a lot of intense pressure around the cranial area. And I've got a better grip now on what that is about. And I'm going to be weaving in the energy of Atlas. Remember the god Atlas, Greek god Atlas? And do you remember what he was carrying on his back? He was carrying the world's problems on his back, okay? So, interestingly, the weight of that very much being on the back of the neck. So, that feels symbolic. I'm also going to be talking a little bit at the other side of this video. I'd like to explore what's happened in Mexico. There is an ancient pyramid which is 1,100 years old, which has partly collapsed in the last few days. There may very well be a climate issue linked to that, but you know me, there is symbolism to everything in my world. So I want to look at the symbolism of that collapsing pyramid, which looks a bit like that. But we're going to be doing that second. I also would like to be talking about patterns, repeating patterns that we're seeing in our world, but probably also in your own life, and how if we're not taking notice of these patterns, they're going to be coming back stronger and stronger and stronger until we do. I've noticed a few things with regard to patterns which I want to raise with you all. We'll pull some cards, we'll use some colour sprays, and let's get going, shall we? So let's start off then with this cranial pressure, the cranial pressure. So I won't repeat everything that I've already said on other channels this morning, but all you basically need to know for this video is waking up, you might have too, over the last few days with this pressure. And I identified that it was particularly coming from this area, the two bones at the bottom of your skull. Many of you are saying to me that they are called the occipital bones. If I've said that wrong, who cares? It's the occipital bones for me, okay? But that's, in all seriousness, that area feeling really tender, really sore. And I was thinking, crikey, have I slept badly? What on earth's that about? But I really feel it's not just about the sleep. It's about a lot of built up pressure, maybe linking into, as a collective and also at micro level within myself and maybe you, finding it difficult to let go of the past. We're back to patterns again, which are coming back into our face and have to be resolved. But one of you also this morning, I screenshotted it. I'm going to have to reference a few screenshots here because this video is going to be going into all sorts of different areas. Let me just get the screenshot, sorry. One of you said it's the occipital bone. This is the bone at the base of the skull which articulates with the first cervical vertebra, the atlas vertebra. Now, Suze, that got me, as soon as I read that, I mean, I'm sure it's about all sorts of other things as well, but that word, the atlas vertebra, can't speak this morning, I was shown so clearly by Metatron, Atlas, with the world on his back, as I just said, this famous image of which there may be very many different versions of it. And I thought, oh my God, that's exactly what this pressure feels like. But it's not just that don't understand boundaries and taking on too much, although as a spiritual light worker, many of us that are on the front line are taking on quite a lot at the moment, because the world's in a hell of a mess. And if you passionately care about that and passing on, hopefully, a better world to the next generation, you are going to probably be doing a little bit more than sometimes your body wants you to be doing. So there's that. But it's also to do with what I was shown is this world, effectively, that some of us are feeling as though we're carrying on our back, the world's problems. It's not just that, it's also old earth energy, which, again, those of us that are aware that there is an old earth wanting to move away for a new earth to come in, a new planet to be birthed, which has a higher consciousness, all of the things I've been talking about for years. This feels like the old earth that's on our back. It's like a ball and chain, actually, is what Metatron's saying to me. And we're trying to free ourselves of it. But if you're living in certain countries, it's as though the old earth energy of, for example, control and power and money and ego is very uglily coming into our face like that. So we're trying to move away from it and create new earth, but we're coming up against this, what feels like almost an immovable object, which is, for example, powers that will not let go of the old earth. And so we're dragging it around with us whilst we're trying to create the new earth. This is not good, guys. This is not good. This is not what we want. I'm not going to go too off track in this video, believe it or not, but I will just say I will try and do another video soon with regards to the erosion of freedom of speech yet again. Very, very concerning events here in the UK. I have been talking about it on my other social media. Summed up pretty nicely today, just with a story in the news. 52-year-old woman arrested in the UK for buying eggs and water in the vicinity of one of the recent protests. Now, it may well be that she was planning to throw an egg or throw some water at somebody. But have we really got to that level of control whereby that now is a criminal offence and she's in custody? What you also have to understand, I will get back to what I'm saying about Atlas, what you also have to understand with the UK and why we're so troubled by the thought police and the speech police is that the new government released an extraordinary number of prisoners within the first couple of weeks of the new government because the prisons were full. And they've let pretty violent people out back onto the street who haven't completed their sentences. And they're now locking up people like, for example, that woman, as well as violent thugs, which we don't want on the street either, thank you very much. But it's all a terrible mess. So those of us that are trying to hold the flame for New Earth, and absolutely that includes freedom of speech, just as one of the pillars of it, we're running up against this old system, and it's very difficult right now. So become aware, that you might be carrying more than you need to. And what Metatron's saying is, if we go back to this image of Atlas, and if you can resonate with that feeling, okay, and it might not just be the world's problems, it's also your own individual problems. Metatron is saying he's giving you a chisel, and it's a bit like chip away at this old energy, because to remove it all at once is actually going to be quite destabilizing, because you're only becoming aware of it because you've been carrying it for so long. We have been carrying this old earth energy, all of us, for so long, for so many lifetimes. But we need to be chipping away at it now in terms of the pressure on the back of our cranial, the head space. So this is about working with chakras. There are many different ways that you can do it, but I'm definitely bringing back teaching that I brought through a few years ago with regards to the Alta Major chakra. Yes, we do have an Alta Major chakra spray that can help, but equally blue crystals, very, very helpful right now. This one that I've got is just blue lace agate. And it was as bad this morning that I went to put one of my nicer, chunkier necklaces on. I couldn't bear the pressure around this area. It had to be something very light. Celestite would also work very well at the moment. Celestite, blue lace agate, just that lighter, paler blue vibration seems to be very healing right now to this whole area. So within the Metatron healing system, we have these aura sprays, and I will just note the colours that I feel are particularly beneficial to ease this pressure. Number one, aquamarine, throat chakra. Again, just look at that beautiful blue. And then the teal Alta Major chakra, which we're going to work with now, which is very much like a sea green. Now, the Alta Major, just to refresh our memory, is this hollow at the back of your neck, and it can get clogged up by energetic seaweed, is what I'm being shown, okay? Literally great big clumps of energetic seaweed. And the problem is that this isn't necessarily healthy seaweed, it's toxic. As I came on to talk to you, because everything is connected, what happens to the elements is a reflection of us. That's what Dr. Masaru Emoto always taught us, was it not? That the state of the world's waters reflects the state of the water within ourselves. And this chakra, the Alta Major, is known as the mouth of God. It's linked into the sea, the ocean. As I came on, look, this is a breaking story in the UK. Cyanide, yes, cyanide leaks into a canal as a major incident is declared over toxic chemical spillage, and locals are warned not to eat the fish. That's in the north of England, around the West Midlands. It is just terrible, the state of our waters, basically. So, this area, which, if you think about holy priests, that they often will anoint this part of the body with sacred oil or something. So you definitely need to be keeping this area clean, massaging this spot, moving the head from side to side. Movement generally is really good. As much as you can, I know we all have phones and computers, but just become aware of your posture. Try not to hunch up too much and always be looking like try to straighten the posture. It's all going to help you. But anyway, let's just first work on the Alta Major, and then we'll get on to the other elements that are also out of sync at the moment, which are affecting the body. So Alta Major. And I also feel, I really truly don't feel this is just me, it feels as though the chakra system itself, it's interesting, there is a framework around the chakra system. So the chakra system within the body, we know it starts, for example, from the Earth Star beneath our feet. Then we've got the base chakra, then the sacral, solar plexus, heart. It's in this line, isn't it? It's in this line. Think about this card from the Metatron deck, okay? So this is the Kundalini, but the chakras are all in this line. And for whatever reason, what holds them in place, although they move and they flow and they open and they contract, etc., there is sort of like a framework that keeps them in this line. And I don't know why, but it feels as though the tracking, is what Metatron is saying, it's like the tracking has gone slightly squiffy and off. So, in a car, your car's wheels can sometimes, the tracking can go off and you don't even realise, but your car's going slightly to one side. Or if you get one of those stupid shopping trolleys, and you get the Duff one and it's just wanting to veer off to the right. There's something going on with our energy system and the chakras, which is wanting to do that. And I tell you what, I've actually put a grid down here with crystals and sprays and cards. And it was really interesting because when I put the Kundalini quartz down, which as you can see is pointed upwards, it's expanded, it's as though I wanted to just put it at a cock-eyed angle. And I was like, why am I doing that? Because it should be like that. It should be straight. And it was like, no. So I don't know. Okay, I'm also feeling as though this is, sorry, I know this is going all over the place, but it's just the way I'm channeling. I can't help it. Being given lots of stuff here. This chakra system being slightly to one side, it's also linked into the poles, the shifting poles. Now, I've done a video on this before, and I've said that I feel as though it's a gradual movement of the poles. But it's like the sunflower that moves towards the sun. But it's like our human vessels and our energetic centers, it's like they're veering this way, whereas actually we want to be true north or whatever it is, however we should be. So something is off. So it's this gentle correction, and it's almost like if you get literally like I'm doing, gentle correction. It's like we all need, it's like being your own chiropractor, but not doing the moves they do. It's literally just gently moving back to center. You just watch your own body. Become aware of your own body and what it's doing. And I suspect that many of us are sort of, we're I don't know, it's kinked. It's not correct. So it needs to come back to center. I'm now being shown a clock face, and it's as though we're at a 1 o'clock position, whereas we should be at a 12 o'clock position in terms of our energy. Some people's is much worse than that. Okay, so 1 o'clock is good. I'm seeing other people are literally just flipping out. Their energy is all over the place, all over the place, so scattered. But hopefully those of you that are watching me, we're doing the work. We're trying our best on a day-to-day basis, which means walking the talk, keeping our system as clean as we can, which includes everything that we're consuming, eating, watching, etc., all the stuff I talk about. But it still feels most of us are still slightly out of sync. I'm also hearing it's like we're out of sync with nature as well. We know that, but I'm feeling that. I don't even know what I mean by that, actually, over and beyond the obvious things. I don't know, I'll come back to that. Okay, so yeah, Teal, just become aware of the Alta Major. Do what you can to keep it clean. Massage using sprays, a nice little soft, gentle crystal there. Rub that as well. It's anything that's done with intention, including putting a warm shower, just standing under the shower and letting the water go there, or, you know, being in a nice bubbly pool and just allowing that water to massage. But there's definitely a cleaning up that's needing to be done there. Right, the other thing with this pressure that's building around the cranial, again, just looking around the world at all the different hotspots, just my little part of the world. Obviously, I'm closer to Europe than I am to America and the Far East and what's going on there. But I just noticed that La Palma has just instigated an emergency protocol because they can see that there is a buildup of gases within the volcano again. I'm pretty sure Mount Etna is doing her thing. You know, just be aware that Mother Nature is going to be doing her thing. The whole energy of riptides as well came through this morning earlier. So something going on with the tidal behaviour. Hopefully no more than a riptide. We don't want it to turn into a tsunami, but definitely, you know, the waters of the world being erratic is the word that I'm hearing. Erratic. The fires of the world being erratic. Being taken to Greece and places where there are these wildfires, but it's as though I'm feeling as though even the fire isn't behaving like it normally behaves. It's as though if you had a firefighter on the ground, I'm hearing they'd be able to confirm what I'm saying. It's almost as though the normal pattern of a fire and where it goes to based on, I don't know, the wind or whatever, it's as though it's behaving in an erratic, different way to normal. So we've got the elements doing this. They're a reflection of us. So, yeah, there's a lot going on with that. Now, let's go back to patterns, because I want to get to the place where we can take charge of this and be able to feel not powerless, but that we can actually do something to get a grip, basically, get a grip on our own energy system, but also try to help hold the reins of the collective energy as we wrestle two Earths, is what I'm hearing. There is an absolute power play for hanging on to new Earth hanging on to old Earth and new Earth wanting to come in. And it's too easy just to say that the ones holding on to old Earth are, you know, the elites, the great powers up here. No, it's everyday people. It's everyday people that are frightened of change. And that includes you and me to a degree as well. As much as we want the new, we also don't often like to step out of our comfort zone. And we don't like transition times where things might be difficult to get to the new. And I'm hearing the word crucible. It's as though there has to be a stage which is like the crucible, where everything just gets put into the fire, the melting pot, and out of that something new is formed. I'm being shown the ironmonger, you know, dipping whatever he dips in, the metal, and then it comes out and it's bent into a new shape, the molten metal. And that's something to do with our energy system as well. You know, the way that lava behaves, that lava changes form, lava creates, I don't know, new mounds of earth and new structures in the geophysical plane. It's like we are evolving as well. I keep wanting to go back to the skeletal system. Our skeletal system really feels in need at the moment. So do what you can to help your bones and your skull. You know, it's the one thing that remains after you've gone. And it contains your DNA and it contains the memory, and it might lie in the earth. Sorry, I know this is going a bit deep and dark, but it's just what I'm being guided to say today. So do what you can to help your bones whilst you're still alive, to be as flexible and as healthy as you possibly can. It's very Kali, this energy, Kali Ma. It's very skull and bones and death and decay, but from decay the new comes, and back to this world on the back of our, we're carrying it, we're carrying all of that, all of this baggage, all of these old bones, and just, we have to put the bag down, basically. We have to leave that old energy behind. And what can help us with that is qualities such as trust and faith and forgiveness and compassion. And it's interesting, I pulled this card today from the Faith Over Feelings deck from the Reckoning Co. And I'm realising how this is so perfect for what I'm saying to you now. It's a little card, so you might not be able to read what it says upon it. It's got a wolf, and it says, sometimes we have to give it a go without a solid support system. Just you, the universe, and a vision that only you can see. That's still enough. Carry on. I'm going to repeat that. This is relevant for you and your life, but also the world. Sometimes we have to give it a go without a solid support system. Just you, the universe, and a vision only you can see. That's still enough. Carry on. I'm sure what is meant by that is not that we don't have a safety net, because we do, because we've got the universe, we've got God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. But it's like we're looking constantly for, yes, that is the right thing to do. Yes, that is where you go. Yes, that is what we will be doing. And none of us know. The future is not predetermined. We have to create it. It came to me this morning that, and I'm not judging anybody because I do prediction videos as well, and I will again, but there's a great appetite at the moment for prediction videos. And I understand it, but it's as though we're all fixated on wanting to know the future. And because we're doing that, that's where our energy is, rather than our energy being on the present moment, which is going to dictate what the future is anyway. We're not present. We're here. We need to be present. And understanding that we're not going to know all the answers. We don't know how this shift is going to happen. But there will be a shift of ages, but we don't know the time, we don't know the place, we don't know how. We're not meant to. And that's very difficult for human beings because they want to know. They want to know. I want to know, but sometimes we're not allowed to know. And actually being at peace with not knowing is a very powerful place to be. So, there's that. I'll pull some cards in a moment, but I want to talk about patterns now. This is just something that I've observed. So if we're trying to break from the past, we can only do so if we actually notice the repeating patterns. And either get off the treadmill and create a new one, or what's the expression? You know, those that don't remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Just two examples, random examples, completely different examples. Number one, because I write a lot on social media, you know, you get the, you said this in 2012 and it comes up and you're like, oh, really? Did I? But I've noticed myself that things that maybe I was talking about on a specific day, 10 years later, the same thing is in the news again. And I'll give you two examples. So I noticed on the day, this is one from mainstream media as it were, pop culture. I noticed, was it a week ago, Travis Scott, not somebody that I follow, but I did once do a video on Travis Scott. And I called out the whole astro world energy and the creation of a portal there, which was very dark. And it was ugly. And of course, people, I think, did die, didn't they, at that concert in Astro World? Big controversy. Anyway, the day that Travis Scott was arrested, I think it was last week, it came up as a memory that that was the day that I'd read on him. And I'm like, oh, so he's back in the news again. He's back in trouble again, is he? Just interesting pattern. On a much bigger scale, I noticed that Japan had a very large tremor around the 6th to the 9th of August. I don't have the actual date. It could have even been on Lion's Gate. Maybe it was on the 8th. But again, whatever day that happened, again, another post, another memory came up where I was talking about the anniversary, the memorial anniversary, with regards to what happened at Nagasaki and Hiroshima between the 6th and the 9th of August. It's as though spotlight on Japan, always around that time. Not that they wanted to be in the news for obviously Nagasaki or Hiroshima, not that they want to be in the news for an earthquake or a huge tremor, but it's as though there's, what Metatron showed me is like this roving spotlight, and it keeps coming back to a particular country or a particular place or a particular situation or a particular issue. And those of us that are really tuned into this flow of the universe, we clock it. It's like this is coming back around at the same time for us to take another look for whatever reason, whether it's to send light to Japan, for example, whether it's for us as other nations to face the consequences of maybe what we did in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I don't know. I'll come to that in a minute. Also, this thing about when you don't fully learn the lessons from the past, or you choose to dismiss it as maybe not as important. I'm going to bring up the interview that Elon Musk did with Trump. Now, I haven't actually had time to listen to it yet. I will do. I'm interested. But I just happened to see, as I was coming on to do this video, that, let me get what Elon Musk said. It was actually something Elon said, not Trump this time. I didn't mean that as it came out. But and Elon Musk was talking about the atomic bombing of Japan. And he's quoted as saying it wasn't not as scary as people think. He's talking about atomic energy. He says it's the safest form of electricity for a generation. Maybe that's true. This is his words, people were asking me in California, are you worried about a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's not even dangerous. In Fukushima, I flew there and I ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it, he said. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they are full cities again. It's not as scary as people think, Mr. Musk added. He joked about nuclear power facing a branding problem. Now, I haven't seen the full context of it, so don't rip me to pieces. The point I'm trying to make here is that all that might be well and true, what Elon has said there, but what about the hundreds of thousands of people that died? What about the lessons that we did need to take from, for example, nuclear power? You know, it's like, has he fully grasped that? Has he fully actually grasped what happened? Has he actually been back to Nagasaki? I mean, I don't care whether he has or not. I'm just trying to make the point here in terms of, are we learning the lessons from the past? And if we don't, unfortunately, they come back. Not hopefully like that. But I do want to just say one thing here, and then I want to get to how we can preempt these things, how we as light workers are here as powerful arbiters of change, is what I'm hearing, to prevent the worst that the world can do. That's our job. There's no point thinking that these are easy times, because they're not. We need to be prepared and ready to go into action to help circumnavigate and, move away from worst possible timelines. I've seen a lot of stuff online, so I'm just trying to light some incense. I've seen a lot of stuff online about the October surprise, whatever the hell that's supposed to be. But lots of people sort of speculating something might happen in October. Now, I I'm not wanting to scare anybody here, but I also have to tell you what I get given. And I'm just going to go back to something that I bookmarked so I can talk about this knowledgeably to you, so we can, as I say, stop it. It's this thing about nuclear power, basically, and nuclear accidents. On the 10th of October 1957, there was something called the wind scale fire. And it was the worst nuclear accident in the UK's history and one of the worst in the world, ranked in severity at level 5 out of 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale. And it laughably talks about the fact that there were estimated to be 100 to 240 cancer fatalities in the long term. It would have been a lot more than that. But anyway, there's also been, of course, the attack on the, I can't even say the word, the nuclear plant, which Ukraine and Russia are blaming on each other after a fire broke out at the giant plant on Sunday. Again, the UN's nuclear watchdog saw strong dark smoke coming from the facility, but said there was no impact reported for nuclear safety, which is good. But yeah, this plant here is something happened to it anyway for it to have caught fire like that. I'm not going to hazard a guess in terms of who did it or whose fault it was, but the point I'm really trying to make, there just seems to be a lot of chatter with regards to nuclear accident right now, and we've got this anniversary of wind scale on the October the 10th 1957. So what we need to be doing is, okay, this is interesting, Metatron saying notice the pattern before it comes back around. You see, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm feeling I'm doing. I'm noticing the patterns before they come back. And if we can do that, we can nip it in the bud. And this is to do with everything, anything. It's also to do with you and your life. So if you've got maybe an old wound that you haven't properly looked at, whether it's an inner child wound, whether it's a betrayal wound, whether it's having been abandoned or been left by a partner, I don't know what it is, but you don't address it and you just keep going on with your life, it's always going to come back around again and demand attention at some point, because wounds want to be healed. And it's the same with more negative energies in our world or danger spots in our world. If we can nip it in the bud and heal it before it flares up again. And it strikes me that even with nature, I'm no expert on volcanoes, but I seem to remember when I was channeling Nikola Tesla, I'm sure he said something about the fact that they would be in the future, maybe they can already, you'd be able to channel some of the energy out of the volcano to disperse the build-up of gas. You know, it's a bit like watching, well, it is, it's like watching and waiting for it to erupt. There must be a way to diffuse it, even though it's nature, and even though it's a great big volcano, bigger than all of us, you know, if we're standing beside it, we're nothing. But still, there is an opportunity to reduce the severity of anything, is what Metatron is saying. And this is done with intention. This is done with the power of prayer. This is done with you believing that you can, basically. Yeah? Or bringing in a different mindset or a different energy to help. So let's go talk about your life now. So you've got a repeating pattern or something that you know hurts you, or a situation that you go into which you know you always find difficult. What change of mindset do you need so that you walk into it next time and you're not going to be triggered to the same degree? some of the cards that I've got here, I'll go to some cards now, but one of the cards that came out was perspective, the crow perspective. We've got two crows, actually. We've also got this crow. So crow medicine. And the bird kingdom generally, actually, but particularly crows and owls I want to bring in as well. This thing about, I mean, the beady eyes, they see things before they happen. Animals see things before they happen. They sense things before they happen. They get themselves out of the trouble before it happens. I saw a little video on, I don't know where it was. I'm not on TikTok, but anyway, wherever it was. And it was a child playing in the street. And this dog that looked vicious ran and it was going to attack the child. Unfortunately, the pet belonging to the child happened to be in the same vicinity, and it rushed in and it took down the other dog. And the other dog just fled. This dog here, the protector, knew it had to come in to thwart what would have happened. That's the energy that I'm channeling here, that we have that ability to stop so much that can be detrimental to ourselves, to the world. Yeah? It's also about not putting yourself into the environment, maybe, that's going to cause the wound to flare up again. An obvious example is addiction. You know, if you're an alcoholic, don't go to the pub. Meet for a coffee instead. You know, that type of thing. Let's pull a few cards at this point. No, actually, before we do that, I want to remind you about the 369 with Tesla. So, understanding the patterns are coming around all the time. That's the nature of life until they're healed. And actually, what's happening now is they're coming back in a bigger form. Okay, so if you haven't looked at something, or if the world hasn't looked at something, it is going to come back in a bigger form, in a louder form, in a more aggressive form maybe, because it requires attention, because we can't take the old wounds to new earth. Old earth demands that it is healed before we move to new earth, otherwise it's never going to happen. So the patterns are coming round stronger. We can nip them in the bud, but one of the ways we can nip them in the bud and heal them, by nip them in the bud, I don't just mean press them down again. I mean deal with them. Deal with it before it manifests into something worse. 369. So I'll link below the original video that I did with Nikola Tesla and the magic of the numbers 369. Because I'm not going to go over it all again now, and indeed I can't remember everything I said anyway, but I do just remember him talking about 369. He believed that the numbers 369 contained the wonder, the mystery, the magic of the whole universe. That if we understood the power of 369, we definitely would be able to get to New Earth, as an example. So you need to be thinking about, let's look at the nuclear things as an example. So say there is a concern that there might be something flaring up again around October, around this anniversary with nuclear power accidents. Then what we can do is focus our intention, for example, on that nuclear plant for 3 days in a row. And for 3 days in a row, at 6 o'clock and at 9 o'clock, we say a prayer of peace and protection and balance and stability. It's that type of thing, okay? Or on the 3rd day of the month, the 6th day of the month, the 9th day of the month, you do something. But you weave the magic of these numbers in to any peace offering or healing service that you're doing. On yourself, maybe you need to check in with yourself 3 times a day, 6 times a day, 9 times a day, with regards to the thing that is troubling you the most. But it can be anything. It can be, I'm wanting to heal my inner child. I'm going to pull 3 cards a day for 6 days. I'm also going to work with 9 different crystals. Experiment with it. There's no right way or wrong way to do this work. It's using numbers to help you and to help the world. It could also be that if we think about the world, where's my globe? I mean, there's more than 3 places flashing red at any one time in our world with trouble. But maybe you focus on 3 places or 3 continents, you know? And you focus your attention on Africa. You focus your attention on Asia. You focus your attention on Europe or wherever you're called to for 6 days in a row. And you do 9 things a day to help that continent, whatever that means to you, you know, whether it's making a donation to a charity in Africa. I don't know. You know, you've got to come up with what you think is right. Maybe put some suggestions below to help other people. Okay, that way we take charge. We're not just waiting to be, it's like whack-a-mole. You don't want to be whack-a-mole. It's like, it's coming round again. Let's get knocked on the head again. No. You know, we have to stop this. We have to stop this madness. And it begins with us just doing our part. But remember, don't become Atlas. You don't have to have all of the world's problems on your back. That's not good. Chip away, as Metatron said. You know, he's shown me the analogy of the chisel again and Michelangelo. You know, from what looks, from this that just looks like a great big boulder and a great big weight. Actually, it can be chiseled into something rather beautiful, because New Earth will contain parts of Old Earth. Of course it will. It's still going to have the oceans and the beautiful trees and animals and hopefully you and me. Okay, let's pull some cards at this point. I'm going to go with this crow, the Urban Crow Oracle. And then we'll get onto the pyramid. I want to have a little look at that as well. So what message, please, for the people watching today? Smiling. Let me just pull 2 more cards. Ooh. On the bottom of the deck, we've got exposed. So I think this is saying we have to trust that everything that needs to come to light will come to light in divine timing, as I already say. I smiled because we've got the card of play, but even the card of play, I don't know, it looks like they're fighting to me rather than playing. Have we forgotten how to play? We probably have, because play is a component of New Earth. We need to play as much as we can. You need to get play into your life. And it comes with the card of abundance. But again, you see, I'm not wanting to block that because it's a beautiful card. Of course we want abundance. But it's a very dualistic card, that, for me. Because on one hand, I'm seeing the fish and the loaves from the story of Jesus. And that, of course, there's enough for everybody. Even if it doesn't look like there's enough fish, there will be. And loaves, there will be. But, you know, I did say at the beginning that we've just had this, you know, cyanide in the water here in the UK, with fish now not being able to be eaten and I'm sure the river being poisoned. So I'm going to pull another card on that. I've also got the card of direction, but I don't know, I just feel like there's something I'm not getting here. I mean, I get it. Yeah, we need to play more. And yes, there is more abundance. But let me just have a clarification, please. Preparation. Can you hear the magpie out the window? You might not be able to because I've got my windows closed, but I can hear the magpie. And I haven't heard the magpies this year because they didn't cut the trees down. They cut all the branches off. They do it every now and again. I can't remember what type of tree it is. The one that leaves all the sticky sap all over your cars. And they give them a good prune every couple of years. And then they grow back really quickly. But there's been nowhere for the magpies to nest. But I'm hearing the magpie, which is my bird that links into duality and Metatron. I love the magpies, actually. But we've got preparation. Well, okay, maybe I'm just trying to look deeper into something that isn't here. Prepare for what? Sorry, I need another card. I feel like I need another deck, actually. feel like I need another deck. I don't think I'm getting anywhere with this deck. Prepare for the night. Prepare for the night, as nature does. Nature knows how to get through these dark times in our world. And the birds are the creatures that survive everything, aren't they? Is that upside down? No. Preparation, night, and nature. Take your cues from nature. Okay. I'm going to go to another deck as well. And then we'll get on to the pyramid. Yes. Oh, God, that's Bella. Take your cues from the animals. Bless her heart. She's such a sweet dog. She's 8 now. I'm at that stage of a dog owner's life where I'm like looking at her and I'm thinking, oh no. I know she's still got a few more years, hopefully, but touch wood, but it's so poignant having pets, isn't it? She's going to bark her head off now just to make her presence felt. She's growling at something. She's growling at. Right, one card from this deck. The Middle World. I never know really what to say about that card, so I'm going to read what the book says. Card 36. Looking at the wrong book. Maybe I don't have the book. I haven't got the book. I don't need the book, is what Metatron is saying. Just show the card. Okay, card number 36, The Middle World. Feels to me it's a message linked into being present, you know? New Earth will come. Where's that card? I don't know. There was a card about exposure. Yeah, everything's going to happen as it's meant to happen is what I'm trying to say, I think. Right, let's move on to pyramids. Just be present in the middle world. The meeting, the place on the bridge. Okay, I want to show you this pyramid before I close out this video. Right, so I am definitely not going to even attempt to tell you what this place is called, but basically it used to look like this. Yeah, 2 pyramids. They date back 1,100 years, and one of them now looks like that. Okay, it's all collapsed, one side of it. And the reason why this is important is that the indigenous ones are saying it's not necessarily a very good sign. It's a bad omen. So it's a pre-Columbian pyramid, partially collapsed following downpours, according to Mexico's National Institute for something that I can't pronounce. Sorry, Mexico. Hope to go to Mexico soon. I've got friends that live there. Anyway, that'll be next year. The pyramid was built over 1,100 years ago by an indigenous community, and archaeologists believe that the collapsed pyramid was used for human sacrifice, made to the Great Fire deity associated with victory and sunlight. Oh, I see now why they're worried that it's not a good omen. Well, mind you, sacrifice isn't good. Okay. Let me just pull a few cards on it, see if there's anything that I can get on it in terms of the symbolism of this, because I just saw it and I felt that there was. Okay. 1,100 years old as well. So over and above it being linked into rain, okay, and warm climate and all of that, okay, I feel like there's something else here. What am I getting? No, say it. Okay. What I'm getting is the collapse of civilization, which I'm sure you don't want to hear. But then again, are we not hanging on to the past civilization? It's this thing again about carrying the weight of old Earth, current civilization. Doesn't mean that you and I have to disappear off this planet and our, children and all the rest of it. It just means that there's a collapse of the old. There's a collapse of the old. And this has to happen to make way for the new. And I've now been given the energy of worker ants, that the sense of community that help rebuild it. But it is new earth. From that pile of rubble and stones, something new will be built. I'm going to use this spray, which is Tree of Life. And before I even spray it, I'm just feeling like a rotten roots. But this is, again, it's the collective energy. Rotten roots. Okay, yeah, it is. It is linked into a collapse of civilization. So I'm being shown like the tree is felled. Another example is the tree is felled because it's rotten. And what remains is the stump. And the stump contains the rings, which record everything that happened over thousands of years, hundreds and thousands of years. It's encoded within that stump. And when the stump decays and goes into the earth, it becomes a fossil. And then the fossil contains the history of that time and that civilization. And this is a time whereby this is happening. The tree is being felled, but the tree is old earth for a new sapling to be planted. And that new that new tree, sapling, has to be ring fenced, it has to be protected. And it will be divinely protected. And it's as though I'm sort of feeling this energy of stop mourning the old that is leaving and start appreciating the new that is arriving. And the more that we do that, that new sapling grows stronger. And the tree represents the new epoch, I'm hearing. Epoch, era. What does epoch mean? I think it means era, doesn't it? Epoch. Meaning. A particular period of time in history or a person's life. So we're at the end of one period of history and we're at the start of a new one. But a lot of people are not aware that's even happening. But it is. Hopefully we are. But we've got to stop carrying around the weight of the old. Okay. I think that's pretty much what I want to say in this video. So colours to work with to help growth and expansion. The greens, the blues. Make sure you're looking after this Alta Major. Emerald is also a beautiful spray to work with at this time because it's about renewal and recovery. And new roots being established. I think I'd like just to go to Ashtar before we leave, actually. Feels like the Ashtar energy has something it wants to say. So let's just see. So, Commander Ashtar, Galactic Federation of Light. He's giving me the analogy of a big inhale and then a big exhale. And it's like that's where we are as a world. There's an inhalation of breath where everything feels as though it's been taken away and removed. before the exhale where it comes back, but it comes back in a new way. And I do feel we're going to be seeing more of this in relation to the elements doing this, the waters, the earth, but us as well. So how do we navigate that, Ashtar? How do we deal with this? You trust. You don't hold your breath, he's saying. You don't hold your breath. You don't hold your breath. Because when we hold our breath, people do that when they're in panic or chronic anxiety or stress. It's like such a shallow breathe, or even stop breathing momentarily. Can't do that. Keep breathing. Keep breathing through these changes. Keep trusting. And he's saying, go to your strongest anchor and go to your strongest antenna. Really interesting. So Ashtar's saying, go to your strongest anchor and go to your strongest antenna. So the anchor, this is belief system. This is what you hold true, what helps you through life. It could be a belief in Jesus. It could be a belief in shamanism. It can be lots of things, but go to the strongest anchor, but then also put up the strongest antenna to the galactics, to the angelics, to the higher realms, and make sure they're straight, he's saying. So what we've got, we're back to what I was saying at the start, the human body, the human vessel, the strong anchor going down and the strong antenna going up. And with that, you can withstand anything that's happening in the world at any moment. But you've got to remember, you've got the antenna, and you've got to remember you've got the anchor. Yeah. And then you become centered and strong, grounded, but also attuned and aligned to the highest light possible. Yeah. That's nice, Ashtar. I like that. And this is Ashtar. He's saying, you can turn to me. You can ask me to help. I want to help. He says part of his remit and his job is to guide planets as they go through these great changes. And he's saying Earth is not the only planet that has done this. This has happened before. And he says, you have been on some of these different planets that have done this, that have shifted from one age to another. And it's a monumental shift. It's a huge shift, not just in consciousness, but it just feels like everything changes. Everything changes. And you need to get to a place of wonder and excitement and curiosity rather than fear and dread and contraction and clinging on. I don't know my astronomy well enough, but he's just showing me a belt of planets or stars or systems, just everything aligning. Everything is as it's meant to be. Before the fall, before the crash, there is always fear, but there should always be hope. Things are only taken away to be built back better, built back stronger. But I'm definitely feeling from him this sense of community and coming together, finding tribe, finding community, like-minded people, all of that being very important as well. Let's end. This would be a nice card to end on. Thank you, Ashtar. Let's pull a card from the Citadel deck, which tends to have archetypes. And I'm going to pull two. I'm going to ask the archetype that we're going from. So maybe the archetype of where we are now to the archetype that wants to come in. Does that make sense? So let's start with the archetype that's operating now. If it was an operating system for planet Earth, what is it? What is it? Okay, so the present archetypal energy here on Earth that for whatever reason today is showing its face. Just one. Well, it doesn't have to be just one, I suppose, but let's just have one card. Okay, that one. It's interesting because that one's lying sideways, not even really wanting to behave itself. We've got the energy of the witch. That doesn't mean that witchcraft, in terms of good witchcraft, is going out, but that's experimentation and rebellion energy. And we've got the miser, stubbornness and inflexibility with that. So present energy. I mean, witch in this context, I'm not dissing witches because I would class myself as a good witch, okay? But we know also there are bad witches, okay? So dark magic, black magic, evil, basically, weaved by nasty sorcerers and sorceresses. And they've been allowed to have a grand experiment upon this planet. A grand time has been had, and they have rebelled and they have fallen. And this feels very much Luciferian. This is like Lucifer falling. It says, I'm just feeling that from the rebellion. It's like turning away from everything that is godly, turning away from everything that is right, turning away from the light, basically. As I say, not dissing witches per se. I'm talking about Satanism, really, Luciferianism, and it's stubbornly hanging on. And what it's creating is this energy of inflexibility. We've got the miser, the miser. And what's interesting is that card, that human being, which represents us, consciousness, the human race, is just like floating in this sort of space, feeling separate from everything. Doesn't feel connected to anything. Doesn't feel like that figure's doing anything. But yeah, experimentation may be gone wrong as well. On the bottom of the deck, this feels like the bridge energy to the new. We've got the priest. Again, not an old-fashioned priest in a frock. This is, I think, I just want to call it the divine. Okay, the divine coming in. Oh, look at that. Could even be the Atlas energy. Look at that. It's like the world, holding the world, the globe in the hands. And it says faith and perseverance. And the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye that can see where we need to get to, even though we don't know how we're going to get there. Okay, let's have a look at the energy coming in. The new archetype that wants to come in, please. The new archetype that wants to come in. We've got 2 cards again. We've got, unfortunately, they're good, thank God for that. I've got 3, actually. I was a bit nervous. Right, number 1, we've got the wise one. Tradition and order. So that's saying to me that we bring the best of the old with us. I like that. We bring wisdom with us. We don't throw out wisdom. We don't throw out everything that we've learned. We've got wisdom is coming in. Tradition and order. That also feels like a nod to the elders and the ancestors. We've got the accolade, new projects and learning. You know, let's get to grips with a new way. What do we need to now learn? It's all new. It's all fresh. It's like turning up the first day of college. There's a college scroll here that eventually will be, gained, but not at the start. There's lots to learn. And then we've got the alchemist, balance, invention, and destruction. So what we learnt in the past from this rebellious phase of the human race and planet Earth, which we chose. I mean, we chose to experience it, but there was an element of destruction with it. You know, the war, the hatred, all of it. And we're learning in New Earth to balance and create something better. A new world, to be the alchemist. I want to go to this card, the Acolyte, and just see what it says about it. Let's just have a look. The Acolyte. Beyond the awe-inspiring hush of the temple is a rush of productivity. Students in ill-fitting robes rush past, arms full of books, or sit in quiet rows as they study their scriptures. Under the priest's wise guidance, the acolyte is eager to begin their journey of learning. They fear that they'll never be good enough to step into their role ahead of them. Even so, they are excited for the world that is opening up to them, and they're determined to embrace it with conviction. I love that because it feels like it's not ego. There's an overabundance of ego in our world where people just feel as though they know it all, you know, and it's like, well, I don't want to start at the bottom of the ladder, you know, and sweep the floor and make the tea. I don't want to do that. I want to be the head honcho with the, you know, the fancy trips and all of that. I'm not saying you're like that, but there is that energy out there at the moment in the populace in some places. This overconsumption and materialism at all costs. You have to strive to get there. But in the new earth energy, it's like we're humbled. That's the energy I'm getting. We're humbled. And we remember how much we don't know. It's this thing about not knowing. We're not meant to, we're never going to know it all. But it's as though it's the opposite energy of this current closed-minded energy, which is it's my way or the highway. You know, you're right and I am I'm right and you're wrong. You know, and nothing is going to shake my belief or my opinion on that. You know, no, we have to be humbled. We have to be humbled, and that feels as though we take that beautiful new energy into the new earth. And we start to create again. We start to be inventive again. We become the alchemist again, but we're creating for all, not just a few. We're creating for all. But I love this card, the Wise One. It's just like, it's beckoning. It's beckoning. Come to New Earth. Come to the door. Come to the door and explore. Come to the door and realize what you don't know. How many are willing to do that? That person, I think, is absolutely, you know, I'm talking politics maybe here, absolutely this or that. Come to the door. Let me reveal something else. Come to the door. You don't understand their mission. Come to the door. You don't understand the wider context. Come to the door. Look what that created to get to that. All of that type of stuff. Humbleness. Letting go of the labels, letting go of all of that. Oh, it's really nice energy, isn't it? I'm liking that very much. Yeah, and then I took one card from the top of the deck and we've got the Waker, awareness and reflection. It's just greater and greater awakening. But it's got an eye in the centre again. And it's this thing about, I didn't realise how much there was. I've only been looking at that little pile. I've just been concentrating on that. And I had to be right about that. And I'm now seeing it's part of and I'm seeing we're part of so much more. Oh, wow. And it's opening up this galactic energy as well. Oh, it's amazing. But first, we've got to get the weight of that old off our back. So remember, you're being given that little spiritual energetic chisel. Chip away at it. Come on, don't want all of that. It's not my stuff. Let that go. Let that go. But as you're letting go of the old, always give thanks to what it taught you. Because it was there for a reason. It taught you something, or it taught your ancestors something. Have we learnt the lessons? As the patterns repeat, notice them. Try to get ahead of them in many ways. See them before they arrive back in your lap. Remember the energy of 369. Call in the energy of Tesla. Call in the energy of Ashtar. Call in the energy of Metatron. Call in the energy of your higher self. Really hope this has helped. Lots of love. I'll be back very soon. I think I'm going to do a catch-up maybe on, you know, the news and everything that's happening in my next video. But also, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. So we'll see. Thank you very much for your support. Please like the video if you've enjoyed it. I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Bye.